Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Emotionally unavailable. Welcome back to Emotionally Unavailable. I'm your host, Malisa Hepner. Hope everyone's doing well. I have my little homemade iced coffee right here. So I have a few things to talk about today. I guess I'll start with the biggest thing. So last week on Monday or Tuesday, I just got to a place where I guess it was Tuesday night. I was just crying out to my spirit guides, spirit team, whoever is here to help me in this human experience. And I said, I am ready and willing to receive relief. I was struggling financially, just having some stress financially, all kinds of stuff. And within 72 hours, I received relief on everything that was weighing me down. So I'm going to start with one of them. So let me back up. If this is your first time here, I lost my 18-year-old. He was going to be 19 in a few months, but my son Jake to a synthetic opioid overdose, which essentially means he thought he was buying Oxy-10. What he was buying was a manufactured pill that had a substance called cyclorphine in it. It's 10 times more potent than fentanyl and is Narcan resistant, and died immediately in our home. My other son and I found him. So that's the short story. Last Friday, I heard from the investigator and she said, can you come and meet with the U.S. attorney? Some things are going to be moving on this case and we've never done an official interview with you. And I said, sure. So to back up again, this is how all of that unfolded. We found Jake on a Saturday. On a Sunday, his friends all kind of just started showing up. Some I had never met, some I had. And it was so comforting because I got to hear stories about him and how he impacted them. And I got to find out he was kind of the me of the group, always uplifting other people, essentially telling others the things that I was always preaching to him. Those are things that you don't necessarily know about how your adult child, because he was a fresh little adult, is showing up in the world. And that was a beautiful, very comforting experience for me. The other part of that is that they were all angry, very angry. And they knew who Jake had bought the pills from. And I said, fellas, I hear you. I don't have the capacity to hold your anger or mine. I am trying very hard for anger to not be my escape because that has been my go-to forever. And I said, hold on to that information. We haven't even gotten an autopsy back. I knew it was they told me from the beginning it would take 90 days because they had to send out the toxicology to a special lab. I didn't know why at the time. I thought that was standard protocol, but anyway, so I said, hey, hold on to your horses. Let's focus on getting through the funeral and loving each other right now. And when the autopsy comes back, if it shows that he bought a pill that was dirty, then we'll go from there. I wanted so badly for him to have just mixed too many things together. That's what I wanted because I didn't want an investigation. I just wanted this to be laid to rest with him. So they knew at that time who it was, and I knew who it was. And the complicated feelings around the situation started then because who it was is related to the girl that Jake was seeing. off and on. They were kind of, I call her his girlfriend. They would say ex because they were just so off and on. Young kids, they're both 18. So anyway, I had feelings for her and her mom and like just love. And so it complicated things for me because this person was related to them. The other part of that is I knew this person was likely selling to sustain their own habit, which Jake did too. So, like, I could be in this situation where Jake's being arrested for somebody else. So that was just so many complicated feelings. So it did take 90 days to get the autopsy report back, and boom, not fentanyl, like they kind of thought, this cyclorphine. And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad it wasn't fentanyl because you can't really prove that the person who sold it didn't know that it had fentanyl in it. But we can prove this kid didn't know they had cyclorphine in it. If you Google, Jake's the first documented case in Oklahoma, and there haven't been very many other documented cases nationwide. So he couldn't have known. That gave me great peace, great relief. You didn't know that you were selling my son something that would kill him? Great. If he did, that would be different. There are lots of factors in this case that would make how I feel about it and him, the guy, different. I would feel differently if factors were different, but they are what they are. So it helps me because it makes it really cut and dry and simple. So, a girl that I knew from way back when I did marathon training reached out because when I made the post about what the autopsy results were, because I wanted to stop other people, I hoped it would stop one kid who maybe was curious about pills or was offered one. I hoped it would give them the strength to say no. If even one family was spared this heartache, I would feel good about going very public about how Jake died. I've always been pretty public about it, but I made a whole special thing, asked people to share, which they did. I received so much support around that post that I will always be so grateful. Then a couple of news stations locally and a few from out of state all reached out, did stories about it. Great. I felt very good about it. So because I did that, a girl reached out that I knew from marathon training, and she said, "Hey, I'm actually kind of the lead investigator in the state around deaths like this. Do you know if they were starting an investigation?" I said, "No, I don't think so. They kind of treated us like this was just, another overdose." And she's like, "Well, we're going to investigate it." And I was like, "Okay." In my heart, I didn't necessarily want that because I was very afraid that they were going to just arrest this one person and make it fit this political narrative that we have going on right now about getting drugs off the street. Okay. I didn't want my experience and Jake's story to just fit some political narrative about the war on drugs. So I felt very unsettled about the investigation and truly untrusting. So I just cooperated in the way that I was asked to. I answered questions. I got in touch with the boys that had come over to tell me how they were with him or whatever, the people involved, and I gave their information to the investigation. Eventually, I had to say, I can no longer really talk about this just like off the cuff of receiving a text or whatever. I was getting really triggered every single time I would receive a message about this or whatever. So I haven't heard anything in a few months. So then last Friday, when this airs, it'll be a little over a week since I got this phone call saying, "Hey, can you come in?" So I said, yes, I can come in. I took Bryson with me for support and just answered the questions, at which time I met the U.S. attorney because the charges the person has received are federal charges. So I met the U.S. attorney, the girl who I knew from marathon training, a couple of members of her team, and the victim advocate related to, I guess, the U.S. attorney's office. I don't know. So I met all of them, and they kind of said, "This is how things will go." I said, "Great." So, this whole time, I was not talking to anyone about the fact that I knew there was an investigation going on. I did not. Oh, I talked to a few people in my personal life, but I didn't make it public. I didn't tell anyone that I thought could potentially get it back to the person. I didn't want to interfere, but I wasn't like initiating anything. I just didn't want, at the end of the day, I didn't want to feel responsible for, hey guys, it's me. Emotionally Unavailable is produced 100% in-house by me with no team. So if this show has ever helped you and you want to give back, subscribe to the Patreon. There's several different levels with different benefits in each. Check the show notes and you can see what each tier subscription will get you. I also plan to there's also lots of fun things coming down the pipeline for the Patreon subscribers. So get in early. You can get a workbook, you can buy merch, you can do any of the things, and all of that supports the show to help it keep going. Really appreciate every single one of you. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see what we continue to do together.
Want $1,000 weight loss medication for $50? It all starts with Rose's free GLP-1 insurance check. Just upload your insurance card to see if you have coverage, then relax. Over 200,000 people have qualified for a $50 copay through Ro. Go to ro.co/health. Half of covered patients have a $50 per month copay or less for medication, plus $145 monthly Ro membership fee. Deductible cost may apply and final cost varies by insurance plan. For safety information about GLP-1 medications, including boxed warning, go to ro.co/safety, RX only.
For hurting people who felt strongly about having the investigation happen. I didn't feel strongly either way. I just didn't want to be involved. So, so we met them. I felt a little better, but then all weekend I had to sit around on pins and needles because I still care about his girlfriend. I still care about his mom or her mom and her. And so I knew this was coming and they didn't. So I didn't even realize I was carrying these feelings all these months of worrying that they would feel betrayed by me. And I really probably shouldn't have worried that much. I know that I shouldn't have, but it was subconscious and it was just, and I think it was just because there was so much to think about. And I didn't want his friends to hate me for caring about these people. There was just so many. I was just taking the perspective and feelings of everyone else into account too. And I wouldn't say that I shouldn't have done that, but I would say I shouldn't have allowed it to create so much weight. But I didn't even realize until the weight was lifted how bad it actually was. So I probably would have dealt with it much differently if I'd been really understanding of what was happening, but I just wasn't. So on Tuesday, they went before the grand jury and presented the evidence, and the grand jury indicted. And Wednesday, he was arrested. And I was sitting around just kind of looking for evidence that they were okay. I didn't want to reach out. I didn't know if I would bring pain to the situation. So I just kind of sat back, and then come to find out they were doing the same thing. They were like, oh my gosh, does she know who's being arrested? So they thought that I would hate them because they didn't know I've known this whole time who sold them the pills. Again, it would change things if I thought for a second he knew he was killing my child, but I don't believe that. He couldn't have, so. So I went ahead and reached out. On Thursday, I reached out and I said, I just want you to know I'm thinking about you. I'm not delighting in your pain at all. I've known this whole time, blah, blah, blah. So they came back with oh, we were worried too, of how you were going to take this because I mean something to them too. So anyways, that was a huge relief. This was the thing I was saying I was going to make a Patreon episode about because I don't want to put too much publicity on this family or make it seem like I'm demonizing or villainizing or even violating their privacy, I guess, or their right to privacy. But I've reconciled that our stories are now interwoven and this is just where we're at. So anyway, so that's where we're at with the Jake thing. he will have a trial in August. That's that. Okay. So, the other things that I felt relief for, finances. So also Wednesday morning, I was about to go into session with a client, received an email, like an email that I've received so many times and just ignored, from an old investment account from like 401k from a job a long time ago. It was so long ago that like I never even imagined it would actually have money in it, so I just always ignored it. My intuition said, take a look. So I did. And it was not nothing, So I cashed it out, and it relieved some of the financial pressure that I've had. And I'm going to get my Jakey tattoo that I've been trying to manifest, and Charlie's birthday stuff that I've been manifesting, and yeah, stuff like that. So a little vacation this summer that I've been trying to manifest. So relief, I was just like, oh my God, relief. Thank you. Thank you. I needed relief. Let's see what else. When I met with the investigators, I asked if they could help me get his fingerprints. It looks like I still have to hope that the OSBI has them on file, but I do have a form to turn in to them to try to get his fingerprints, because that's something that I forgot to ask the funeral home for. I'd kind of like if that was like a standard practice of them asking if you want that, no matter what service they are providing, cremation, whatever, because I didn't think about it till later, but I would love to have that to either imprint on a necklace, tattoo, put it on a fucking ornament for Christmas, whatever. So, anyway, as long as OSBI has them on file, I'm going to get those. So that was relief also. My brother, I heard from him on the 3rd. He went ahead and contacted me. And so, he's alive. I needed relief about that. So like all of these things that I was carrying so much weight from, it's relief, which made me think about manifesting in general. And all of this occurred on the day I recorded with Angie for this week's episode. So if you want to hear kind of real-time stuff, you can listen to Unquiet Soul on Tuesday. But I've always heard about asking more for the feeling than for something very specific. And this kind of proved that to me, because I said relief, and I've never felt this amount of relief in my life at like one time, so many things working out. It's wild. And it made me think about how I want to ask for things moving forward, because I do believe I'm the creator of my reality, and that beliefs are the thing that create the reality. So I'm just definitely thinking about how moving forward I will try to manifest. So yeah, I feel really good about that. Let's see, is there anything else? Another thing, I also received word that that one of my proposals that I created to speak at a conference were accepted. It was one I'm not as nervous about the other one because I've spoken there the last 2 years, so I figure they're going to accept me. But this one I was a little bit nervous. I mean, I was doing like the law of detachment and whatever, and just like, I know that if it doesn't happen, it's for my highest good. So like, really, I was going to be okay if I was rejected by it. But like, I did want it really bad. So, and I was a little nervous. So, really excited about that. Yeah, I'm telling you, one thing after another. It was, what a week. What a week. It literally just, what a week, I'm very excited to get my Jake tattoo. I'm getting the number of days that he lived and copying how he wrote his name. Like, I'm taking his license and transposing I would say signature, but the boy didn't know how to sign, so he literally just printed his little name. So I'm going to have Jake, where he wrote Jake, in that handwriting on right underneath the amount of days. Eventually, I'm going to get some sort of mushroom tattoo too, but I don't want to rush that. I want to really think about what kind of mushroom I want. So anyway, I'm really excited about that. And I'm just excited about planning a trip and Charlie's birthday. my kids' birthdays have always meant so much to me, like me trying to make them feel so special and so loved on their birthday, which I've probably put a little too much thought and effort into because like, I don't know, just projecting because I never felt special or chosen or loved. But still, it means a lot to me to be able to provide them with a good birthday. So I'm very happy to be able to do that. And among other things, like I was able to catch my car payment up and other bills and whatever. So I'm just relief and I'm just basking in the relief right now. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm just living in such gratitude for right here, right now, and believe that everything is working out for me. And do listen to the episode with Angie because I really get into some other stuff. But yeah, one of the things that I've determined is that I'm going to start keeping a spreadsheet of the seeds I've planted, not outcomes, but like measuring progress through what I've done, the action, what seeds did I plant, and knowing that that's enough, that it's all happening without evidence of it happening. And the evidence will come as long as I'm chill and just keep planting. So I'm excited, really excited about what's coming in my future because I do believe all my dreams will come true. I'm just kind of getting more sure about what those dreams are. And yeah, so today is a good day. I feel happy. I was really struggling with carrying the pain of this other family, but I have to put that down because I can have compassion for them, but it's not my pain to carry. It really isn't. But I mean, I'm here to offer support and love and hugs and whatever I can do to help this other family. And I, look forward to the day that I can tell this individual that I forgive them and that it would mean the very most to me to see them make the most out of the rest of the life that they have. And, that be meaningful. Like if we had to lose Jake, I want it to touch as many lives as possible. So yeah. So I've put their pain down in the last 24 hours and just said it's really not mine to carry. I can carry love and light and again be a support, but I don't have to carry their pain. So that's where I'm at. And just sitting in my own authority and autonomy saying, whoever doesn't understand where I'm at right now, if they want to leave my life, I will just have to let that happen because I worried for so long his friends would stop talking to me, things like that. And I just can't worry about stuff like that anymore. So I'm in a really good place today. Today's a good day. Oh, and I get to go order a headstone for Jake. So that feels really good. So I'm going to do that sometime really soon, hopefully this week. So yeah, thank you for everyone for all of your love and support. I appreciate you. And I hope this helps someone. I don't know, but that's where I'm at right now. So I am, just to plug myself for a second. If you go to Instagram, my link tree, kind of running everything through my Patreon right now, and that's a growing resource, so you can check that out. I do offer one-on-one sessions, but on a very limited basis, so reach out if you're interested in working with me. But otherwise, I just love you, and I appreciate you being here, and I believe this audience will continue to grow the way that it has. And I would love if you guys would interact more. That I get a lot of downloads and I'm not getting comments or nothing. So I would love if you would engage more. For one thing, engaging on the platforms that you listen, it helps push it out to other people, but it also helps me expand in my rating and rankings. And I am really pushing for the top 3% of podcasts right now. Right now I'm in the top 5%, but I've been pushing for a little bit. I really need reviews and comments and ratings for that to happen. So if you wouldn't mind, however you're listening this, except YouTube, that doesn't help anything. It doesn't help my downloads. I mean, it helps my YouTube stuff, so that's fine, but it doesn't help my downloads. It doesn't help anything. So but I do appreciate my YouTubers. My subscriptions are growing slowly but surely there. I love you all. Thank you so much. And, but if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe just go take a second to leave a rating or ranking or comment on Spotify or Apple. That's it from me. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you later. Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share. Emotionally Unavailable. All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
INDEPE and cut.